If you're receiving NZ Super right now, there is a very good chance you are leaving money on the table. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because there are WINZ support programs specifically available to seniors that most people simply don't know exist. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what they are, how to claim them, and the mistakes that could be costing you hundreds of dollars every single year. I'm David, and you're watching New Zealand Pension Plan, the channel where we break down NZ Super, government support programs, and important updates that could affect your finances, so you can make informed decisions and make sure you're receiving every entitlement you may qualify for. Today we're covering urgent and hardship cash payments available through Work and Income New Zealand, WINZ, that are specifically accessible to seniors on NZ Super. We'll cover what these payments are, how much you could receive, how to apply, and the critical traps you need to avoid. And later in this video, I'm going to address some claims circulating online about extra lump sum payments for seniors in 2026. Some of those claims are false, and I want to make sure you have the correct information. So let's get straight into it. The most important thing I want you to understand right from the start is this. Your NZ Super payment is not the ceiling of your government support. It is the foundation. On top of your NZ Super, there is a whole layer of additional support available through WINZ, and most of it requires a separate application. It does not come automatically. If you are waiting for these payments to appear in your bank account without doing anything, in most cases they will not arrive. You have to ask. Let me start with the program that surprises most people the most. It is called the Special Needs Grant, and it is one of the most powerful tools available to senior New Zealanders facing an urgent financial need. The Special Needs Grant is a payment administered by WINZ under the Social Security Act 2018. It is discretionary, which means WINZ staff have the authority to approve it based on your individual circumstances. And here's the most important detail. A special needs grant approved as non-recoverable does not need to be paid back. It is not a loan. It is a grant. The threshold is serious hardship. If WINZ determines that without a particular item or service you would experience serious hardship, they can approve a grant to cover it. This includes dental treatment, glasses, car repairs, a broken fridge or washing machine, and funeral expenses. These are real, everyday situations that seniors face on a fixed income, and WINZ has a formal mechanism to help with every single one of them. Here is a specific figure I want you to remember. For dental treatment, you can receive up to $1,000 per year as a non-recoverable grant. You do not pay that back. If your dental costs go beyond $1,000, you may access additional support through an advance on your NZ Super, repayable over 2 years with no interest charged. If you have been putting off dental work because you cannot afford it, this is something you need to look into immediately. In a moment, I'll explain exactly how to apply. But first, let me cover another payment that many seniors on NZ Super don't realize they are eligible for. It is called the Accommodation Supplement, and it could be adding money to your income every single week right now. The Accommodation Supplement is a weekly payment from WINZ to help with your housing costs, whether you are renting, boarding, or paying a mortgage. That is an important point. You do not have to be a renter to qualify. If you are a homeowner still paying off a mortgage, you may still be eligible. The amount you receive depends on your situation and the area of New Zealand you live in. Maximum rates are higher in places like Auckland and lower in rural areas. What makes the Accommodation Supplement particularly valuable is that there is no time limit on receiving it. Once approved, it continues as long as your circumstances meet the criteria. It is reviewed every 12 months, but as long as nothing significant has changed, your payments continue. This is not automatically added to your NZ Super. You need to apply. And if you have never applied, there is a real possibility you are missing out on weekly support you are entitled to receive right now. Take a moment and consider whether this applies to your situation. If you are paying rent or a mortgage and your budget is tight, this should be your next phone call to WINZ. Keep watching because the next support program is particularly important for seniors managing ongoing health conditions. The disability allowance is a weekly payment to help cover costs related to an illness, injury, or disability that is likely to continue for 6 months or more and requires ongoing medical treatment. What many seniors do not realize is that this covers a very broad range of costs. GP visits, prescription medicines, a medical alarm, physiotherapy, and even travel to and from medical appointments. WINZ calculates your total health-related spending over the previous 12 months, divides it by 52, and that becomes your weekly disability allowance payment. Seniors receiving NZ Super as their primary income are regularly approved for this payment. The key requirement is a medical certificate completed by your doctor or specialist. If you have a health condition that requires ongoing treatment, and you are spending money out of pocket each week, you need to look into the disability allowance. It may put real money back in your pocket every week. Now, I want to cover a payment that is active right now as we move through mid-2026. The winter energy payment runs from the 1st of May through to the 1st of October, and if you are receiving NZ Super, you are receiving it automatically. No application required. If you are single, you are receiving $20.46 per week on top of your NZ Super. If you are a couple, one person receives $31.82 per week. The winter energy payment is completely tax-free. Over the full 22-week winter season, a single person receives approximately $450 in total. A couple receives approximately $700. This payment has been in place since 2018. The rates in 2026 are the same as they were in 2025. It is not new and it has not increased this year. But it is real, it is confirmed, and it should be in your NZ Super payment right now. One important detail around overseas travel: you can continue receiving the winter energy payment for up to 28 days if you travel overseas. Beyond that, it stops. If WINZ continues paying it while you are away for longer, that becomes an overpayment you will need to repay. Contact WINZ before you travel if you plan to be away for more than 28 days during the winter period. Now let me cover temporary additional support, often called TAS. This is a weekly payment for people who cannot meet their essential living costs from their income alone. It is income and asset tested and requires an application. The maximum rate as of April 2026 is $2,697.43 annually before tax, representing a meaningful weekly top-up for those whose essential costs exceed their income. When WINZ assesses you for TAS, they look at your total weekly income against your total weekly essential costs: rent, food, power, medical expenses, and if there is a gap, TAS is designed to help fill it. You will not receive this payment without contacting WINZ and making an application. But if you are genuinely struggling each week, this is a real and meaningful source of support. And I want to say this directly: please do not feel embarrassed about asking for help. These programs exist because the New Zealand government recognizes that NZ Super alone does not cover every person's costs in every situation. You are not putting yourself in a difficult position by asking. You are using a system built for exactly this purpose. Stay with me because I need to explain an important distinction that could save you from a financial surprise. There is a difference between a special needs grant and a recoverable assistance payment. Both can help with urgent costs, but a recoverable assistance payment must be paid back through deductions from your future NZ Super payments. There is no interest, but repayments will reduce your fortnightly income in the weeks that follow. When you contact WINZ about urgent assistance, always ask clearly, is this recoverable or non-recoverable? Those are two very different outcomes. A non-recoverable grant does not reduce your future payments. A recoverable payment does. Get the answer before you accept any assistance. Now I want to address something that does not get discussed nearly enough: your right to appeal a WINZ decision. If WINZ declines your application for any support, you have the right to request a formal review of decision. This is a written request to have your case looked at again. You cannot be penalized for asking. If the review does not change the outcome, your case can be referred to a benefit review committee and ultimately to the Social Security Appeal Authority. The consistent advice from experienced advocates is clear: No is never the right final answer when someone is in genuine hardship. WINZ staff have discretion, and sometimes the first person you speak with does not exercise that discretion properly. A review of decision is your formal right to ensure your case is assessed correctly. If you need free help navigating this process, the Citizens Advice Bureau, the CAB, provides free support. Community law centers also offer free legal assistance. You do not have to face WINZ alone. Now I want to address the misinformation that has been circulating online because it is genuinely causing confusion among seniors trying to make informed financial decisions. Over recent months, a number of websites have published articles claiming there is a confirmed one-time cash payment of $850 for NZ Super recipients in 2026. These articles have been shared widely on social media. I want to be completely direct with you. There is no confirmed $850 one-time cash payment for NZ Super recipients in 2026. The Ministry of Social Development has not announced it. Work and Income New Zealand has not published it. There is no legislation, no budget announcement, and no MSD press release confirming it. When asked directly, a government spokesperson confirmed that any decisions regarding additional support would be announced through official channels, and no such announcement has been made. What appears to have happened is that some of these websites noticed that the April 2026 NZ Super rate adjustment brings some recipients' weekly payments close to $850 at certain tax codes, and they have misrepresented that as a new one-time lump sum. It is not. The April 2026 increase was the standard annual general adjustment, tied to wage growth of 2.9%. It was applied automatically to your ongoing fortnightly payments. It was not a cash bonus. If you see any headline claiming a new one-time cash payment for NZ Super recipients in 2026, verify it at workandincome.gov.nz before taking any action. That is the only source you should trust. I also want to correct a very common misconception. Many people believe that once you start receiving NZ Super, all additional support comes automatically. That is partially true and partially false. The April rate increases are automatic. The winter energy payment is automatic, but the Accommodation Supplement, the disability allowance, special needs grants, and temporary additional support, none of those are automatic. They all require you to contact WINZ, make an application, and have your circumstances assessed. Many seniors who would qualify are simply not receiving these payments because they never asked. Before I wrap up, let me cover a few important details about your NZ Super itself, because getting these wrong can cost you money. Your tax code matters. NZ Super is a taxable payment. If NZ Super is your only income, your tax code is most likely M. The published after-tax rates are based on that code, but if you have other income, part-time work, rental income, investments, your tax code changes, and your take-home NZ Super will be less than the published rates. This is not a penalty. It is how New Zealand's progressive tax system works. If you are unsure about your tax code, contact Inland Revenue directly. Your living situation matters. Your NZ Super rate depends on whether you are single living alone, single sharing accommodation, or part of a couple. If your living situation changes, a new relationship, a partner moving in, your rate changes and you must notify WINZ. To give you a real example of what this means financially, if you are single and living alone, you currently receive $1,110.30 per fortnight. If you move in with a partner who is not receiving NZ Super, your payment drops to $1,024.90. That is a reduction of $85.40 per fortnight, over $2,000 a year. Significant, and WINZ must be told when it happens. Overseas pensions matter. If you receive a pension from another country, the United Kingdom, Australia, or elsewhere, that overseas pension may reduce your NZ Super payment. WINZ offsets it dollar for dollar in most cases. This must be disclosed. If you are receiving an overseas pension and have not told WINZ, please do so immediately. Undisclosed overseas pensions are overpayments, and overpayments must be repaid. The residency rules are changing. Since July 2024, the minimum residency requirement for WINZ Super has been on a sliding scale that is gradually increasing from 10 years to 20 years by July 2042. The specific requirement depends on your date of birth. If you have spent significant time living overseas and are approaching 65, check your specific residency requirements directly with WINZ. Do not assume the old flat 10-year rule applies to you. And if you are approaching 65 right now, you can apply for WINZ Super up to 12 weeks before your birthday. Apply early to make sure your payments start on time without any gap. Here is how to access the support we've covered today. Call the WINZ Seniors line on 0800 552 002. This line is specifically for seniors, and the staff are familiar with the full range of support available to WINZ Super recipients. Be specific when you call. Tell them exactly what you need help with. Accommodation supplement, disability allowance, a special needs grant for an urgent cost. The more specific you are, the more effectively they can help. You can also use MyMSD online at my.msd.govtt.nz or the eligibility checker at check.msd.govt.nz to see what support you might qualify for before making contact. If you visit a WINZ service center in person, bring documentation, proof of identity, evidence of your income, details of your housing costs, medical documentation if applying for the disability allowance, and invoices or quotes for any urgent costs you want a special needs grant for. Documentation strengthens your application, and if WINZ says no, ask for a review of decision in writing. You cannot be penalized for doing so. Let me bring everything together now. WINZ Super is your foundation, not your ceiling. The special needs grant can provide up to $1,000 per year in non-repayable dental support and can cover other urgent costs, but you must apply. The Accommodation Supplement is a weekly housing payment with no time limit, but you must apply. The disability allowance covers ongoing health-related costs calculated from your actual spending, but you must apply. Temporary additional support helps when your essential costs exceed your income, but you must apply. The winter energy payment is running right now and is automatic for WINZ Super recipients, ending the 1st of October 2026. If WINZ declines any application, request a review of decision. It is your right and it is free. The $850 one-time payment is not confirmed by any official source. Do not rely on it. Always report changes in your living situation, overseas travel, or overseas pensions to WINZ. And if you are approaching 65, apply for WINZ Super up to 12 weeks early. The support we have covered today represents real money that many New Zealand seniors are entitled to, but are not currently claiming. A weekly disability allowance, a monthly accommodation supplement top-up, an annual dental grant, these add up significantly over time. Every week that passes without checking your eligibility is potentially a week of support you are leaving unclaimed. Please make that call, log into MyMSD, walk into your nearest service center, find out what support is available to you right now. If you found this update helpful, make sure you subscribe to New Zealand Pension Plan. I'm David, and my goal is to help you stay informed about WINZ Super, WINZ, MSD, and every important government support update that could affect your finances. Thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next update.